Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Poodle back with another CFB 25 video. And in today's video, I'm going to be going over the secret behind off-season development in Dynasty mode. Now, as always, guys, before we get into the video, if you're new, hit that subscribe button, turn on that noti bell, give this video a big thumbs up. Can we get 400 likes in this video? That'd be greatly appreciated. Every like goes a long way in helping the channel out, and it takes a second, and it's free. So if you can go kindly do that, I'd greatly appreciate it. And comment down below, or hit me up on Twitter if you need any more in-depth help related to this and any specific situations you may have in your league, because obviously everything's very variable. And if you haven't already, make sure to check out the greatest place to play fantasy sports, one of the largest and fastest growing in the entire industry, Underdog Fantasy. My link will be down below in the description. If you use it, get up to $1,000 on your first deposit and a bonus match, as well as a 0.5 free pick, which is basically free money. And like I've been saying, Derrick Henry, touchdown, has been carrying me all season. Come join the wave, have some fun, make sure to use my code. But yeah, let's get into it. So guys, again, like I always say, through trial and tribulation in my own online leagues, I see how things work in this game. I examine things. I eventually pick up on patterns, and that's what these videos are for, to kind of relay my real tried and true experiences for all of you. So as I play through this game, you have to remember, we've been discussing this for months now, and we've been trying to figure out the formula, and there's a few things here. People confuse development trait, cap, stat caps, and of course off-season development. They are three separate things. I just want to preface that for anyone's new. Remember, when I make these videos, there could be new people watching them. There could be people who've just gotten the game. We're getting closer to Christmas, Black Friday. It's another wave of people coming in, so keep that in mind. First off, dev trait, normal, impact, star, elite. That is how quickly they accrue XP through playing. So that is how quickly they can reach their ceiling by playing. That's one. Stat caps are their ceiling. How high could they actually grow? Off-season development is entirely separate to both those things. It is random, but also it's not random. Keep that in mind, right? So I do want to preface that here. Now, the secret to having a super team, the secret to getting, have you ever seen Georgia in this game? Year one, they have a bunch of 90 overall players. They all graduate or go to the draft, and you're like, yes, they're dead. Then we advance, 10 more 90s appear. Okay, cool. They leave again. They're dead. 10 more 90s appear. I'm in year 5 and it keeps happening. So watching that and then comparing it with some stuff from my point of view has given me a great example of how this works. So LSU in this game off rip, when I started, didn't have a lot of draftable talent. Obviously, they've made a lot of updates to this game. They've increased a lot of players from real life performances, as you can see, but there is something noticeable here. So I have noticed that one of the key things to off-season development quite literally is the talent ahead of them. I feel like it's not talked about a lot, and some of you may know this, but this plays a big role in this, and stay tuned because there's more to this in terms of how to pick and how to strategize who you start. So what I want to start with saying here is, let's say LSU, they don't have great corners. So you'll notice the first 3 years, if it's an LSU team, your corners never become great. They don't get good offseason upgrades, and then all you think is you have bad luck. Why isn't my team upgrading in the offseason? Why are my corners? You literally need to develop, on a team like that, you need to develop players that are draftable, players that are mentor style overall, right? And then the players below them will develop accordingly, and I'll show you why. And you can see this. The coaching packages does such a great job of showing you how this game works if you really read it. So keep in mind what I just said. Now I want to go to coaching packages to show you this first and foremost, what I've seen as the biggest thing. Now, I don't think you necessarily need the package, but it definitely helps. And this is why I always say it's important, if you don't have motivator on your coach, to make sure you get a coordinator with it. If you don't have motivator in general, right, that's a problem. But look at this first one. It's called Pay It Forward. This is the most basic tier of everything. And this is the one that I think matters the most. Obviously, tier 3 matters, but it's kind of, you have to pay for hot hand, which I don't really care for. Bonus XP when players are drafted in the top 3 rounds. You'll start to notice a trend that, even if you don't have this, but again, I think you want it because it's bonus XP. It's not saying XP4, it's saying bonus XP. That means you're getting even more. So if you notice, the best teams that develop in the offseason, the best positions that develop in the offseason, are the ones that have draftable players ahead of them. And this changes the strategy. So let me break down a scenario in my league. I get this recruit. His name is Mason Ramsey. He's a 5-star elite, Nick Bosa, Joey Bosa type. Like he identical type in like Madden, like those elite ends, right? Mason Ramsey starts off as an 83 overall as a recruit. He has an historic freshman season as a starter. I start him right away. He's great. I start him right away. He has an historic freshman season. Sacks, records, awards. He only goes up to an 86 overall. Not bad. 3 overalls, right? Not bad. But I noticed some other ends on other teams went up a lot more. I also noticed that my other end on the other side went up more, and he didn't even play. So I was trying to process all these things through. And as you realize that playing the game playing with players isn't as important as putting them in the right position to succeed. And there is some strategy to this again. So what I'm saying all this is to say, be very vigilant about the way you start your players. So for instance, Kyron Lacey is a senior, which means that he will be leaving for the league soon, possibly. He's only an 87. So when you look at Kyron Lacey and you look at his ratings, you notice he's uncapped. You might be able to get him to an 88 to a 90 in this one season. So let's say you have Jelani Watkins, but you like him better. He's a freshman. You might be better off redshirting Jelani Watkins and building up Lacey for his final season and Thomas, because getting them drafted, getting them into high overalls will be the key to his development. So let's play out two scenarios. You start Jelani Watkins year one, you have a good year with him, you bet some XP, you get him up to a 78 because you played him, but now he's a sophomore at a 78. Or you redshirt him, Kyron Lacey, and maybe even CJ Daniels get drafted, you get bonus XP. Jelani Watkins next year is still a freshman, except now he's a 77 overall. So you essentially boosted him up because of draft bonuses and because of players above him being elite bonuses, right? You get all that, and then he's still a freshman. This is why redshirting is just always important, but I've now learned that forcing guys onto the field is problematic if you have a guy getting drafted. For instance, I brought in a quarterback. He got almost no bonus behind Nussmeier because Nussmeier didn't get drafted high. 85 overall, didn't grow up much. So another scenario is I brought in another quarterback. I have this guy Hashim. He's a 92 overall in his senior season. I brought in a freshman quarterback who's an 81 overall with elite dev and has no caps. He already had his redshirt season. I need him on the field. But I can do that because Hashim's a 91, 92 overall, so he's going to go in the first or second round. I don't need to build him anymore. So I can let him sit there on the bench, but when he gets drafted, my quarterback Joey Coker will get a huge boost. But now let's say Hashim was an 87 overall. I may want to give him one more season to start to get him to an 87 to an 89 to 90 overall, right in that range, get him growing up so he can be a first rounder. That way, my freshman quarterback can get that big boost. And I've learned that across the board. Back to Ramsey. Ramsey is now in 3 seasons, right? He's my right end on my online league. Ramsey, my right end, because LSU had no one else elite above him get drafted. He's a left end, right? Womack got drafted at a 97 overall in my league, but he's a right end. Again, position changes. It may be worthwhile as a strategy actually changing a player's position to match. So let's say you have an elite edge rusher at right end. Elite, he's about to be drafted. It may not, and you have no good ends below him, but you have a good left end. It may be nice for you to change your freshman, right, your ends over to that side. Let them get that boost. Because I've noticed this and it kind of sucks. I have this elite edge rusher at outside linebacker. I don't have any good outside linebackers below him. All my good pass rushers are ends. He's my one edge rusher that's actually great at outside linebacker. He's going to give a huge first round boost to a bunch of guys I'm not going to use, and it's unfortunate. I've noticed this at cornerback. Cornerback for LSU sucked for a few years. Once I got a few guys drafted, all my guys below them are getting these huge boosts, like 80 to 89. So that is how the teams like Georgia and Bama and Clemson, all those other great programs that start off really good stock, keep the program going because you're getting so many bonuses. And you'll notice I have guys comment who use bad schools, 1-star, 2-star schools. They all say, I don't get anything in the offseason. My friend got 10, I only got 2. How is this possible? I have all the motivators. It's not working. Because you're not getting players drafted. The team's not good enough. You actually have to go through a few years of that struggle too. And I've even LSU is deceiving. They may be a 5-star program, but they don't have a great, look at this. They don't have a great roster off rip. They have a lot of guys who are seniors that are 80 overalls. They don't have a lot of draftable players. Outside of their tackles and Harold Perkins, they didn't have much that's actually going to be drafted. And Mason Taylor. That is about it. So I actually had to go through about 3-4 years of building to finally get to a position where I'm bringing in 5 to 10 players that are getting drafted a year. You know, on the high side is 10, obviously, but 5's closer to the mean there. But now I'm getting these crazy boosts. But what I have noticed is pay attention to the position. If you have a guard, let's say right here, you have Will Campbell about to be drafted at 96, it might behoove you to go put Craig Echoes at left tackle. It might behoove you to put Lee there. It might make sense to change some guys over to that side and do this ahead of the season. Maybe not mid-season, but when you get to position changes, look at who's getting drafted the following year. Change some guys around. Get them behind them so they get that boost. You can always switch them back later. But keep in mind that is a huge bonus, and if you read through coaching packages, it will tell you how the game operates. It's bonus. It's not only, it's bonus. So that works for the whole game. Get players behind other players that are about to be drafted. Harold Perkins. Get some guys at outside linebacker behind him that you care about. So again, a great example. Tylen Singleton is a guy in every league I play in, as LSU, offline and online, that always goes up a lot. Why? I was always wondering, why does he grow? because he's behind Harold Perkins, who gets drafted as a elite first rounder. Tyler Singleton gets that huge boost, and of course I have the package, right? Same thing. You'll notice this across the board that that's just a pattern for it. Now, some guys will just grow. Some guys get lucky with off-season training. That's tier 3 other motivator. You can get lucky, but I've noticed that the biggest consistency, the biggest determinant of how growth happens in the off-season version, again, depth trait's different, stat caps are different. The biggest determinant of how off-season growth happens is that. Now, you may not grow in overall. All that XP can go to abilities. You might notice a guy not go up in any overall. You're going to say to me, hey, I did what you said. I didn't get overall bonuses. Look at his abilities. He might be platinum now or gold, or they have some new ones. They could spend it however they want to spend it, so also keep that in mind. Now, if you want to get really glitchy, you change their position over to where you want behind them. You get their abilities matched because of that method I told you where you switch their abilities. You match their abilities. Now there's no abilities for them to buy. All that XP goes to overalls and not abilities. Just saying, I might make a video on that actually. That's actually a really great way to get players 99. There's going to be a video about that at some point. Keep that in mind. You'll see that in like 2 weeks. But that's basically it for the video. This is the key. Make sure you process your roster accordingly to batch this. Again, do the ability thing with it. You coordinate this, you'll be building elite rosters in no time. But that's it. Getting players behind elite players. That is the key to the offseason training. It's so noticeable. All my players that I'm starting as freshmen and sophomore that have no one above them, they're not growing. They're only growing from XP and game bonus. They're like having that slow growth of I have to perform well with them to grow them. But then I have these random bums that are just blowing up. Like I have this outside linebacker who's like a 90. I'm like, where do you come from? Again, behind Perkins. That makes sense now. I'm not talking about Singleton. I had a few outside linebackers that actually, Keith Cobbins, Kolach Cobbins and Singleton both get to 85 to 95 overall very quickly in every league, and I always wondered why. It's because of that bonus. And again, look through the game. Make sure you read your coaching packages and start to process why things happen, and you'll realize off season's all about you getting players drafted, and that is why the greatest programs can't seem to die in this game. No matter how bad you recruit, they're gonna keep blowing up. Eventually, after 10 years, you can eventually kill the program with bad decisions like not recruiting, cutting the wrong guys. But as long as players are being drafted, remember, drafting's not about how you play with them, it's about their overall. So you want to get all your players basically at 87 or higher for the most part. And again, that first round, second, third round bonus is really big, especially that first one. And it makes sense. It does make sense. So guys, about it for the video. Hope you did enjoy. If you're new and this provided any value, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Can we get 400 likes in this video? And of course, comment down below if you have anything to add to this. You guys always have great insight and advice to add, so make sure you do it. Check out Underdog. Use my code. Get up to $1,000 in your first deposit, as well as a free 0.5 pick. Thank you for watching. I'm out. Peace.